Hello there, Brandon Jones here with Daniel Bloodworth, who's going to give me some hot details about a hot new game with Hot Wheels. And I will say what I know about this game. The only thing I know about this game, other than the shark car that you posted in Slack, which looked pretty sweet. But you're pretty excited about this.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. It's a nice little surprise.
So your expectations were low, or maybe you didn't really have any.
Not really low, but I mean, like Hot Wheels is usually like one of those brands that like when a game comes out, it's just like it's kind of like the average licensed game kind of thing. And that's fine.
I confess I did type Micro Machines when we were discussing it. I was like, we could do that Micro Machines. No, it's not Micro Machines. Hot Wheels.
Right. Yeah, and there was a Micro Machines game a couple of years ago that was looked promising, but didn't turn out to be like the reputation of past Micro Machines games. But anyways, Hot Wheels Unleashed. It's from Milestone, who's an Italian racing game developer. They're actually very prolific. I think they put out like 4 or 5 motorcycle games per year, kind of.
Wow.
So they do the Monster Energy Supercross. They do MotoGP. They do.
I wonder who's making all of these. Yeah, okay.
They do Ride. They did Gravel a couple of years ago, which was one of their like few non-motorcycle games. And then this is also a non-motorcycle game. But yeah, so when I saw the first trailer, I was intrigued. When I saw some like more gameplay later, I was like, okay, not sure, but it is a game that I feel like it plays more fun than it looks.
Oh,
in a way, because a lot of it is kind of about, it's essentially, it's like Mario Kart without weapons. So a lot of it is really like kind of skill based and like getting the slide right around corners and stuff, and people are looking at it, but essentially the tracks are like the kind of like iconic like orange sections of track.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Hot Wheels tracks. But then there's like different colors and stuff, but then like Mario Kart, there's bits that like will go up along the walls or across the ceiling. They're like magnetic. The other thing that's really cool about the Hot Wheels cars is they like super look like Hot Wheels cars. Like they've got all the texture and the detail and everything just right. Like the plastic looks really plasticky.
Do they play with proportions in terms of like you're small, or you mean just
they do
just the texture? Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they're and it's one of the things I was concerned when I was watching footage of it before I played it was I just thought they're like, oh, there's just going to be a bunch of floating tracks in the background, just not going to matter. But in a lot of these tracks, they actually will, like the track will end at like a countertop, like across this desk, and you'll drive across the desk, and there'll be cones scattered to kind of show you like what the route is, and if you go at the wrong speed, you'll just zip right off the edge. There's some other hazards, like there are some tracks I did were like fans that will kind of blow you right off the track. And that was another cool thing to show the amount of detail is there's one part when I got knocked off the track, and then you could see the bottom of the car, and it had like the screws and the like made in Malaysia and like all of that. So the materials and the lighting in this are just, and I'm playing it like, okay, so I'm playing it on like the Beast PC, so I don't know what it looks like on a console or whatever, but it's just like, okay, this is like all like very reflective, very realistic looking, and so it's pretty cool. The cars, like I said, they're like like a lot of classic Hot Wheels cars. But I played with the shark car, which I actually had one of those when I was a kid.
The Shark Cruiser.
Yeah. I played with like a little tank. I played with what they call the street wiener, which is like a hot dog, but then the spoiler on the back is basically a grill. And a nice little detail there is that like when you're moving around, like the grill will like flop kind of half open, half closed.
I like that you're using the terminology "I played with." It's very, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, getting hands-on was great. Motosaurus, which is like a stegosaurus with wheels.
Of course.
A roller toaster, and then there's a whole bunch of them in the menu that I didn't really mess around with yet.
Did you unlock anything, or were these just the ones available?
So basically, the preview build, they don't have the career open yet. It's just kind of like pick a track, pick a car. So the preview build, they've got 28 cars out of the 60 cars that are going to be available. And they had 9 tracks out of the 40 tracks. And then, like I said, there's like background. So there's like 6 different environments. And they had 4 in the preview build. So one was like college campus. But what was interesting is that the tracks would be in sort of like different parts of these environments.
Right.
So there would be like a library area, but then there would also be like a lab area, and then like another that seemed like more of like a waiting room, and then there's like a skate park. There's a skyscraper, which is pretty cool because like a skyscraper that's under construction, so there'd be times where like you go through a bunch of bricks that are like
Nice.
laid on the ground. There's some big jumps in there too, and then there was a garage, was the fourth one that I played on. What else? Oh yeah, so the other like environmental hazards. There's like boost pads. There are these zippers, or like the long kind of runways of boosts. There are other kind of similar things that will like raise your boost meter. Oh, that's an interesting thing too. With different cars have different types of boost. So I saw two different types. So like there's one where like you have a certain number of charges, and they'll vary by car. So like some cars will only be able to store like 2 boosts at a time. Other cars will have like 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
And
So you don't think you're like leveling up the cars at all? You get a car.
there are
and it has
different
its own
rarities
stats?
of cars.
Right.
So you start with like common and then rare and legendary and all that. They say the rarer the cars are, the more difficult they could be to handle. So maybe some of that with the different boost levels will make a difference. Separately from the number of charges that some cars have for boost, there are also cars that rather than having like you hit the button and you boost for a certain amount of time, there's just a meter. And so when you build up meter, you hold down the button to burn that meter. So part of knowing what cars you want to use,
That's cool. Yeah.
is also what kind of meter do you want to use. And then I had one car, and I don't know if maybe I just triggered this accidentally and I didn't realize that it was available for all the cars, or if it's just specific to this one car that I'd picked. But there was like a starting line thing where you could actually see like a visual like thermometer kind of gauge.
Oh, okay.
And like you just kind of like mash the A button enough to like put the gauge up, and then whatever it is when it says go, then like that's how much boost you have off the starting line.
Maybe like other cars can do it, but with that car you can see that meter, or it's like a little easier maybe. Or
Yeah, it's just something like I happened across on like the last race or race before last or something that I'd done. Like, oh, okay, I hadn't seen that before. There is this one, the garage track has like a kind of like a railway switcher, because there are branching paths. And so it's almost like a hand of a clock that would like go back and forth. So you had to time it right. It's like, okay, which side is it going to be on when I get up to that fork in the road? There was another part in that same track that went through air vents. And so that was pretty cool. So you like jump off, and now you're just like in the air vents, and you're just like, okay, where do I turn? And the first time I just got completely lost in a duct somewhere.
Nice.
But that was cool. But the craziest hazard I came across would be like there's kind of like these arches that have like these like mechanical spiders on top of them, and they'll shoot these webs down at the track. And if you get stuck in these things, man, it's just like you've got to like hit that boost like a couple of times.
So these are because of your size. These are like real spiders potentially.
No. They're totally like parts of the track. They're totally like a mechanical part of the track. There's also a track I did where you start in like a dinosaur's mouth, and everybody launches out of the dinosaur's mouth. Because some tracks will be lap-based, but other tracks will be point-to-point. And I think that was one of the point-to-point ones. Oh, there is like a little bit of a kind of like a tunnel thing that you could like zip around. And there's definitely some loops in there. So it's like sometimes you want to make sure you save up enough boost to like hit that loop, like right as you're about to go over the top of it. But, like a lot of times when you're in those kind of situations, it's like watching it in the replay lets you see things that you didn't realize were happening. Like when you're upside down and stuff, it's like you don't really realize you're upside down. You're just taking this turn.
Yeah, good point.
And then you look at the replay, it's like, oh, crap, we were going on the wall here. There's not, like mechanically, there's not really a whole lot else going on in terms of, like, it's not like you're building up you're not doing the back and forth thing, the snaking thing like in Mario Kart. It's really just about finding the right angle.
And you said no weapons, so you're not really doing anything aggressively against. There's no like slide crash mechanic or anything,
Right, like you can body block other cars and
is there like slipstreaming behind other cars or like
not that I noticed, not that I caught up on. And yeah, there's the detail of everything was pretty cool. Some other things that I wrote down from their sort of press kit. So there's going to be a full career as well as time attack mode. There's going to be I played some split screen with my wife just to get
Nice.
some footage, see it running.
Always appreciate it. Thank you, man.
And that's a side-by-side split screen, which actually makes sense in this, the way the tracks are designed. But there is 12-player online. It's going to be in the final game.
Ooh, cool.
And then there's going to be a track builder in the final game.
Neat.
Again, it's just, they look so right. Like the plastic little seats look right. They don't put like any kind of cutesy drivers or anything. It's like, no, this is just a Hot Wheels car and nothing else. There's just like this bus that has all kinds of seats inside of it. It's really, really cool.
But not a lot of bells and whistles, but you felt yourself getting better at it. How long did you play? Just an hour or two? Or?
Yeah, just an hour or two. I just basically went through all 9 of the tracks that they had on there.
But you felt you were getting not only just learning the tracks, but getting a hang of the mechanics?
Yeah. Well, and different cars are kind of weighted differently, so that's part of it too, is just figuring out, which one sort of matches.
That die-cast metal,
rhythm.
yeah. Sure. a gram here or there, it'll make a big difference.
Yeah, the street wiener was definitely one of the lighter ones. But this is coming out September 30th. Pretty much everything: PS5, PS4, Xboxes, Switch, and PC.
Cool.
And I like what I played so far. Will definitely be a candidate.
You liked it. You group stream liked it.
Definitely want to group stream
liked
this.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That'd be good to play with other people.
Yeah, I think the thing that makes me happy is just that it looks good. Especially for
It
something.
looks so good on
something
PC.
licensed like this.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you bring like BMWs and Aston Martins to the table, of course they're going to be extremely particular about like our car needs to look good. But it's just nice that like I can imagine like staffers at Hot Wheels being like, yes, looks good. I'm looking at the car right now, and it holds up. Cool. Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.